In current Tokyo, Father Yuichi invests his energy by his torpid child's side after an episode where somebody pushed the kid off a rooftop. Yuichi's dad, the elder, drops by too, however he's brutal rather than supportive, as marvels where he was the point at which his child required him. In a little while, Yuichi recovers his firearm, choosing now as the time to pursue retribution. In the interim, an exceptionally unfortunate American hired soldier strolls the city roads while chatting on the telephone to his overseer Maria, who gives him the codename Ladybug as a joke for his misfortune. The mission is straightforward: he should board the Bullet Rain and take a baffling folder case that has a sticker on the handle. The task should have gone to another hired fighter called Carver, yet he was unable to make it since he was debilitated. When he arrives at the station, Ladybug inadvertently knocks against Yuichi, which makes him drop his storage key and ticket without taking note. Luckily, Ladybug knows how to pick locks and figures out how to open the storage in any case, procuring him admittance to the sleeping powder he had mentioned, yet declining to take the weapon. Ladybug needs to persuade the guide to give him access with only the receipt, yet Yuichi cheats without any issues and adheres to the directions on a note shipped off him by the individual that attempted to murder his child. Anyway, who he finds on the seat is a youthful, cute young lady, and Yuichi figures he accomplished something wrong until the young lady touches him. This is Prince, a young lady that utilizes the Blameless Young Lady Act to carry out violations. Adhering to Maria's guidelines through earpiece, Ladybug finds the portfolio in a baggage rack toward the finish of the carriage, not realizing it has a place with a couple of professional killer siblings codenamed Tangerine and Lemon, who are on board too. The sticker on the satchel comes from Lemon, who is fixated on Thomas the Tank Motor representations and even conveys a sheet of Thomas stickers with him. However, the kin aren't here just to safeguard the suitcase. They've likewise captured the child of White Death, the most hazardous mafia chief. He recruited the siblings to keep his child in the clear and return him to his dad along with the money brimming with the payoff cash a few foes of White Death owe him. Tangerine gets customary calls from their overseer to check all is well, yet when Lemon twofold checks the rack, he finds the suitcase is no more. Lemon isn't stressed on the grounds that he thinks delivering the child alive is the main piece of the mission, so Tangerine needs to recount to him the entire story of White Death to make him comprehend. The Japanese hidden world used to be controlled by a man named Minohishi, who was known for his fierceness yet additionally for his dedication. At some point, a previous individual from the Russian mafia joined Minohishi's family and moved gradually up the positions until he turned into advisor. Different advisors have zero faith in him and attempted to caution Minohishi, yet he didn't tune in and such a choice turned into his defeat. The Russian man, who became known as the White Death, made his own pack and killed Minohishi and every one of his men in a single evening. Presently he's known as the soulless killer responsible for the biggest criminal association on Earth, in spite of the fact that he hasn't left his compound since his beloved wife died in a car crash in an auto collision. This is the motivation behind why he recruited the siblings as opposed to coming for his child himself. He needed the masters that dealt with the scandalous Bolivia work. They need to regain the suitcase right away, yet when they return to the child to see the course change. The kin figure out things have deteriorated, the child is dead, and anything that killed it left him draining blood from his eyes. Back to Yuichi, he at long last awakens and finds Prince has rigged his firearm. She likewise has a cohort in the emergency clinic, so in the event that Yuichi kills her, his child dies too. Prince realizes Yuichi works for the White Death and he conveyed a portfolio 2 days prior to one of White Passing's partners. That is the point at which she saw her chance. In the event that she followed the suitcase, she could track down the White Death. The justification for why Yuichi is here is that Prince believes her should kill White Death for her. In the meantime, Ladybug has escaped to one more carriage and is preparing to get off the train at the following station, yet he finds the entryway hindered by the Wolf, a hired killer who worked for a Mexican group. Weeks prior, upon the arrival of his wedding, he coincidentally spilled his glass of wine, and this postpone in drinking saved his life. His wife and every one of the visitors died from a poison they drink, left with their eyes bleeding. Wolf was informed that the individual answerable for those passings is on the train and has come to seek his retribution. A savage battle begins between the two hired fighters that takes them to the train's bar, where Wolf figures out how to cut Ladybug just for his telephone to endure a hit. A couple of additional hits. Wolf throws his blade at Ladybug, yet since he shields with the suitcase as a safeguard, the blade skips and stabs Wolf. The train is going to move toward another stop, so the siblings tidy up the sign and cover his face for certain amusing glasses prior to preparing to get the suitcase case back. Lemon monitors the way to check each traveler getting off, and Ladybug sees him when he's going to leave, recalling Lemon as the man that attempted to kill him during a mission a couple of years prior. Since he can't utilize this gate, Ladybug goes through different carriages and knocks against the train's mascot, who attempts to take the suitcase from him. Subsequent to punching its charming face, Ladybug hurries to another gate, however it's past the point of no return, the gate are closed and the train starts once again. Then, at that point, Ladybug gets back to the bar, conceals the suitcase, and takes Wolf's telephone to call Maria, who affirms the story. The goal of the wedding death had been to get Wolf's boss, and every other person fell as well, only for being related with Wolf. Ladybug had penetrated that wedding too as a server and had been the one that coincidentally made Wolf spill his glass, yet he wasn't the one behind the deaths. While attempting to consider what to do straight away, Ladybug sees Tangerine searching for the attaché and chooses to conceal in the gear rack. Tangerine sees him in anyway, yet fortunately, he doesn't remember him from that old mission and continues to walk. Then, Tangerine chances upon Prince and Yuichi, and when he inquires as to whether they've seen the suitcase, Prince lets him know Ladybug's portrayal, since she saw him run by before. Meanwhile, Lemon gets back to his seat while getting a text from his sibling with a portrayal with perfect timing for Ladybug to sit opposite him. Ladybug would rather not play with ferocious individuals and offers an arrangement. He'll give them the folder case back in the event that they don't kill him. Lemon couldn't imagine anything better than to acknowledge. However, he would rather not get along after Ladybug previously killed somebody. He was talking about the child, however Ladybug believes he's discussing Wolf. Still stuck on the train illustrations, Lemon calls Ladybug his diesel and starts battling him, however Ladybug figures out how to take Lemon out before he can utilize his weapon. Then, at that point, he fills Lemon's water bottle with sleeping powder, conceals the firearm in the baggage rack, and finds Sun's body, which has similar draining eyes as individuals at Wolf's wedding. In the meantime, Tangerine additionally advances back to the carriage. Ladybug takes Lemon's telephone and leaves as he calls Maria to inform her another person on the train. Other than he and the kin are finishing a work, since it can't be a coincidence that Wolf's family and the Sun were killed similarly. While talking, Ladybug attempts to block the entryway between carriages with baggage, which makes him inadvertently open an enclosure with a snake that was taken from the zoo a couple of days ago. The toxin of this snake causes the draining impacts shown by the Sun. In the wake of finding Lemon unconscious on his seat, Tangerine proceeds with his quest for Ladybug, who is currently attempting to stow away from the conductor since he ought to have proactively gotten off. Realizing Tangerine is after him, Ladybug moves toward the traveler and pays him a cash to trade cloths. When Tangerine arrives, he moves toward the traveler unintentionally, allowing Ladybug the opportunity to get away. In the interim, Prince and Yuichi go to the bar to track down the folder case. Then, they conceal in the restroom, where Yuichi gets a call from the elder that Sovereign make him to put on speaker. The elder needs to realize the reason why did you leave the medical clinic, and Prince orders him to tell the truth so Yuichi makes sense of he is here to pursue retribution. This is frustrating for the other to hear, yet before you accomplish an answer, Prince makes a hang up. Now Yuichi will remain in the restroom evaluating all potential blends until he opens the suitcase, while Prince stays outside keeping up the honest innocent young lady act. She discards Yuichi from utilization telephone to stay away from L interruptions. Back to Tangerine, he gets back to his sibling's side and awakens Lemon, who is beginning to think Ladybug didn't kill the Sun. Their talk is interfered with by a call informing him that as opposed to going to Kyoto, the siblings should get off with the Sun and the case at the following stop. There's a gathering of Yakuza hoodlums sitting tight for them. Yet the kin previously thought it of a trap and consider an arrangement. Tangerine gets off alone and lets the partner in crime know that he's an expert that doesn't succumb to cheap tricks. Consequently, Lemon is still inside monitoring the suitcase and the Sun, who is presently waving through the window. As Lemon directs his developments like a mannequin, fortunately they get it and Tangerine will return in one piece. So presently the siblings should part and scan the two closures of the train for Ladybug prior to leaving. Tangerine gives Lemon his firearm for additional assurance. After they're gone, Prince comes to mind the Sun spitting all over when she sees he's dead, then she returns to the washroom where Yuichi has at last figured out how to open the attaché. Anyway, Prince isn't keen on the cash. She simply needs to establish a bomb inside so it can kill White Death when he opens it. A similar system she's rigged Yuichi's weapon with, motivated by the reality each time somebody attempted to kill White Death he killed them consequently with their own weapons. Meanwhile, Ladybug's concealing in an alternate washroom while Maria tells him of a renowned doctor that worked on criminals was killed in a technique by a similar eye-draining toxin. The professional killer's name is Hornet and Ladybug needs to track down them to hand them to the kin to get his own life. Utilizing Lemon's telephone ends up being a poorly conceived notion when Tangerine figures out how to find Ladybug in the washroom because of the following app. Another battle begins and the two professional killers trade a lot of hits, possibly halting when Tangerine necessitates to get a call from White Death's hatchman. This time he's told to get off with the case at the following station or everybody on the train dies. Tangerine doesn't have the idea what to do yet. Ladybug makes an arrangement. Since the hoodlums don't have the foggiest idea what Lemon resembles, Ladybug will profess to be him. The folks get off at the following station with an irregular satchel they took, yet their arrangement turns sour when the case inadvertently opens and uncovers it's not the one with the cash. Luckily, before White Death's thugs can get them, Ladybug and Tangerine run back inside just before the train takes off once more. Discussing Lemon, he's actually searching for Ladybug while drinking his water, and he goes over Yuichi and Prince, who plays the guiltless young lady card again when gotten some information about a dubious man with a case. Nonetheless, Lemon doesn't accept her since she explicitly makes reference to not seeing a portfolio, and he never utilized that word, and that implies she is his diesel. To make them talk, Lemon shoots Yuichi, then, at that point, he and Prince conceal the body in the restroom. Lemon goes on to Prince next, however at that point, the dosing powder kicks in and he drops. So Prince takes his weapon and shoots him prior to concealing him in the washroom as well. Prior to leaving, she ties the door handle up to keep anybody from getting away. At the following stop, Ladybug tells Tangerine where he concealed the satchel and attempts to get off, yet Tangerine doesn't let him since he actually needs a full person. Seeing he has no other decision, Ladybug dismisses Tangerine from the train just before it takes off once more, however this isn't sufficient. Tangerine pursues the train and bounces on its tail to then get back inside by breaking a window. In the interim, Ladybug is changing carriages and finds Yuichi's telephone when it rings. The senior is attempting to beware of his child, however Ladybug drapes up on him subsequent to advising him to utilize the following application. Then, he returns to the bar, and in the wake of finding the manipulated attaché right where he left it, he checks Wolf's body again to search for hints. It turns out he's come to kill the Hornet, who has been concealing inside the mascot ensemble this time, and she was the one to kill the child. She likewise slipped into the wedding by claiming to be the cook. Hornet tracks down Ladybug first however, moving toward him subsequent to taking the uniform from a streetcar worker. Another battle starts as Hornet makes sense of she was guaranteed the cash from the satchel prior to wounding Ladybug with a needle brimming with poison. Thinking rapidly, Ladybug gets the needle and cuts her consequently, provoking Hornet to take out the counteract and fully intend on relieving herself. Notwithstanding, Ladybug takes it for him and passes on her to die. Back to Tangerine, he tracks down the washroom with an attached door handle and opens it to track down the body of his sibling. Lamenting, he removes his jewelry and puts it around Levin's neck prior to taking the weapon from Yuichi's hand, prepared to pursue retribution. Then, he calls White Death to advise him to meet him toward the stopping point at Kyoto since he ought to quit being a defeatist. He isn't anxious about the train exploding on the grounds that he can't kill every one of the travelers, however White Death uncovers he realizes just the hired soldiers are left inside and every one of the regular people have proactively gotten off. In light of the fact that he purchased every one of the tickets himself. After White Death balances up, Tangerine goes over Prince, who claims to be a guiltless young lady once more and cries as she makes up some story up. From the get-go, Tangerine trusts her, yet when Prince pivots, Tangerine noticed a sticker of the person Diesel that was placed on her back by Lemon before he was shot. Tangerine acknowledges Prince has been the troublemaker from the beginning and attempts to shoot her, yet Ladybug appears then, at that point, and accepts Ruler's fake tears, so he hops on Tangerine to stop him. In the battle, the firearm unintentionally goes off and kills Tangerine. The train is going to stop at the following station, and Ladybug vows to safeguard the young lady. Since Prince requirements to arrive at as far as it goes, she imagines her sack is stuck and asks Ladybug not to let her be on the grounds that she's frightened. Once more hence Ladybug botches his opportunity to get away. Ladybug might have left, however somebody got in, the Elder, who heeded the guidance of the track app. When he strolls by, he perceives Prince's voice from when she intruded on his call with UG and sits across them. Ladybug attempts to get the weapon that Prince claims she tracked down laying around just to wind up chomped by the snake. Overreacting, he races to the washroom to toss the snake in the latrine, and fortunately he doesn't bite the dust on the grounds that the cure is as yet working. In the meantime, the Elder snatches Prince's pack and understands that she's the one that drove his grandson over the rooftop, so Prince explains if she really wanted UG to help her kill the White Deathman that had been the best way to get him on the train. She attempts to suggest both UG and his child are dead, however the senior isn't frightened of her stunts, he left a protector at the clinic, and she's now killed Prince's colleague. Ending up without the advantage, Prince hurries to one more carriage while Ladybug returns to sit with the Elder, who chooses to share his story. At the point when he was a young fellow, the Elder made a guarantee to accommodate his family regardless of the expense. For that reason he turned into a significant individual from Minagishi's wrongdoing family. He had been one of the consultants that cautioned Minagishi about the White Death that got disregarded, and he endures simply because destiny needed him to. At the point when he got back, the senior found his significant other dead and the house annihilated, the main survivor being Yuichi. A while later, he crawled under a rock and focused on figuring out how to pursue retribution without endangering his child, yet White Passing generally avoided reach. Presently however, the senior thinks destiny has placed White Demise in his way by directing him to the train. The men consent to cooperate and go to the restroom, where they figure out Yuichi is okay on the grounds that the slug hit no organs, and Lemon is likewise fine since his tactical armor carrier got Prexen shots. Anyway his state of mind tanks when he tracks down the accessory around his neck. In the wake of expressing farewell to Tangerine's body, Lemon comes after Ladybug and Yuichi, hungry for retribution. The senior stops him, reminding him they should cooperate to endure the White Demise. Minutes after the fact the train comes to Kyoto, where the White Passing is hanging tight for them with his multitude of professional killers. Ladybug emerges with a satchel, planning to delay, and the cohorts catch him before they start quarreling about who will open the portfolio to really look at its items. Meanwhile, the White Passing gets on the train and goes over Sovereign, who is uncovered to be the White Demise's little girl. He generally needed a kid and that is the reason she got that moniker, which she hated. She likewise loathed her more youthful sibling for standing out enough to be noticed for being the main successor in any event, when he was a bum failure. Sovereign has constructed her vocation as a hired fighter in view of nothing and presently she's here to make her dad see her for whom she truly is. As she expected, White Demise takes the assault firearm from her, yet he doesn't kill her, guaranteeing he's constantly seen her however she's never been essential for his arrangement. While Lemon goes to the control room and attempts to sort out how it functions, White Passing goes to mind the condition of the attaché and affirms Ladybug's hypothesis. Every one of the professional killers that were on the train had been recruited by him, anticipating that they should kill one another. It was all important for White Passing's arrangement to get payback for what has been going on with his better half. The Kins Bolivia mission had comprised of killing a gigantic gathering of White Demise's group, so he needed to make a trip there to deal with them and let his significant other be. It ought to have been him in the vehicle that evening, since it hadn't been a mishap. It had been a death endeavor against him. She might have made due assuming the posse specialist had been accessible, yet Hornet had proactively killed him. The sun went down since he had caused problems once more and his significant other had gotten in the vehicle to help him, and Ladybug was brought here accidentally. White Demise had needed Carver since he had been the hired fighter that killed his significant other. Before Ladybug can make sense of the disarray, the henchmen at long last open the satchel and the bomb goes off. Yuichi and the senior start battling the criminals that were searching for the bodies, and Lemon at last figures out how to begin the train once more. The blast thumps Ladybug, White Passing, and a greater amount of his group into the train before it takes off, and presently they join the battle too. The senior goes hand to hand with the White Demise and nearly loses, yet Yuichi comes to his rescue. What's more, thumps White Death by throwing a water bottle at his face. This allows the senior the opportunity to complete him with a blade. In the meantime, Ladybug arrives at the control room and attempts to assist Lemon with finding the brakes while battling the cohorts coming after them. Be that as it may, Lemon penances himself to drive the last hoodlum over the train, tumbling to the water with him. Ladybug attempts to compel the brakes by cutting a few wires, making the train get off rails and crash into downtown Kyoto. The senior and Yuji save themselves by clutching a seat, and Ladybug endures thanks to his arrival against the delicate mascot ensemble. When they get off the train, they find White Passing is as yet alive, yet he succumbs to the ruler's rib weapon and winds up biting the dust in any case. The threesome believes they're protected to leave now, yet Ruler appears next prepared to guarantee the name of White Demise, just to unexpectedly be run over by a truck loaded up with tangerines. It just so happens, minutes prior, Lemon securely swam out of the stream end. While running not too far off, he saw the tangerine truck and thought about a sign. In the wake of taking the truck, he utilized it to kill Ruler's vengeance. After Yuji and the senior leave, Ladybug sees an extravagant vehicle show up and is stunned to find Maria has come to get him. Sadly, she promptly succumbs to Ladybug's misfortune, and her vehicle winds up obliterated by a falling post.